Hello, future top notchers. Welcome to another major strip review session. And for today, we'll focus on an essential part of teaching, which is the assessment and evaluation in social studies. Okay, so are you ready? Let's get started. Number one, which of the following best describes formative assessments? Letter A, it is conducted at the end of a unit to measure overall learning. Letter B, it provides continuous feedback to improve student learning. Letter C, it is only used for grading students in final exams. Or letter D, it focuses solely on standardized testing. The correct answer is letter B, because formative assessment is used throughout instruction to monitor student progress and provide feedback for improvement. So letter B is the correct answer. For incorrect choices, letters A, C, and D. Letter A, this describes summative assessment, which evaluates learning after instruction. Letter C is incorrect because formative assessments are not just for grading, they guide learning. For letter D, standardized testing is a type of summative rather than formative assessment. So letter B is the best answer. Number two, what is the primary purpose of assessment in social studies education? Letter A, to assign grades to students. Letter B, to identify students who need to repeat the subject. Letter C, to enhance teaching and learning. Or letter D, to determine school rankings. The correct answer is letter C. The main goal of assessment is to improve both teaching and learning by identifying students' strengths and areas for improvement. So for incorrect choices, letter A, for letter A, while grading are important, assessment goes beyond grading. For letter B, assessment is not solely for failure detection but for student development. For letter D, school rankings are not the primary goal of assessment in education. Only letter C is the best answer. Number 3. A teacher administers a pre-test before teaching a unit on Philippine history. What type of assessment is this? Letter A, diagnostic assessment. Letter B, summative assessment. Letter C, formative assessment. Or letter D, performance-based assessment. The best answer is letter A. A diagnostic assessment is used before instruction to determine students' prior knowledge and identify learning gaps. Okay, for incorrect answers, letter B, summative assessment happens after learning. Letter C, yes, summative assessment happens after learning. And for letter C, formative assessment, this occurs during instruction, not before. And for letter D, performance-based assessment evaluates how well students apply skills, not prior knowledge. Only letter A is the best answer. Number 4, a teacher asks students to create a timeline of the Philippine Revolution and explain key turning points. This is an example of what type of assessment? Letter A, summative assessment. Letter B, authentic assessment. Letter C, diagnostic assessment. Or letter D, norm reference assessment. The correct answer is letter B. Authentic assessment involves real-world tasks that demonstrate students' understanding in a meaningful way, such as creating timelines or maps. Okay. For letter A, summative assessment is incorrect because this measures overall learning, but in the situation, this task focuses on application. For letter C, diagnostic assessment occurs before instruction to assess prior knowledge. For letter D, norm reference assessments, this compares students' performance to a group average, which does not apply here. Only letter B is the best answer. Number 5, a teacher uses rubrics to grade students' historical essays. What is the main advantage of using rubrics? Letter A, they make grading faster. Letter B, they provide exact scores with no room for interpretation. Letter C, they eliminate the need for teacher judgment. Or letter D, they ensure objective and transparent grading. The correct answer is letter D. Rubrics provide clear criteria for grading, ensuring fairness and transparency in assessment. So, the main advantage of rubrics is that they ensure objective and transparent grading. Let's discuss the other choices. Letter A is incorrect because while rubrics can speed up grading, their main purpose is fairness. Letter B, rubrics allow for some flexibility in assessment, in assessing qualitative aspects of student work. And for letter D, teachers still exercise judgment in using rubrics. It does not eliminate. The best answer is letter D. Number 6. Which of the following is an example of a norm referenced assessment? Letter A, a pre-test used to diagnose students' prior knowledge. Letter B, a final exam graded using a specific rubric. Letter C, a standardized test comparing students to a national average. Or letter D, a teacher-made quiz measuring mastery of a single lesson. Okay, the correct answer is letter C. Norm reference assessments compare students' scores to a broader population, like for example, standardized tests comparing students to a national average. That is the best answer. For letter A pre-test is diagnostic, not norm reference. Letter B, a rubric-based final exam is criterion reference, not norm reference. For letter D, a teacher-made quiz measures individual mastery, not group comparison. Letter C is the best answer. Number 7, a social studies teacher notices that students memorize historical facts but struggle to analyze historical events critically. Which assessment method would best address this issue? Letter A, giving more multiple choice quizzes. Letter B, assigning a group research project on historical events. Letter C, increasing the number of timed exams. Or letter D, using more fill-in-the-blank questions. Okay, the best answer is letter B. A group research project requires students to analyze events, interpret causes, and evaluate outcomes, fostering critical thinking. Okay. Letter A, multiple choice quizzes assess recall, not deep analysis. For letter C, timed exams test speed, not historical reasoning. For letter D, fill-in-the-blank questions focus on fact recall rather than evaluation. Only letter B is the best answer. Number 8. A social studies teacher gives students an open-ended question. If you were a leader during the Philippine Revolution, what strategies would you use? What type of assessment is this? Letter A, performance-based assessment. Letter B, diagnostic assessment. Letter C, formative assessment. Or letter D, norm reference assessment. Okay, the best answer is letter A. Performance-based assessments require students to apply knowledge creatively, like role-playing and strategic planning. Yes. For letter B, diagnostic assessments, as we all know, these track prior knowledge, not application. For letter C, formative assessment track progress, but does not but do not always involve real-world application. Letter D, norm reference assessments compare students to a national standard. The best answer is letter A. Number 9. A teacher allows students to choose between writing an essay, creating a video documentary, or making a timeline to demonstrate their understanding of World War II. What is this assessment approach called? Letter A, differentiated assessment. Letter B, traditional assessment. Letter C, standardized assessment. Or letter D, objective assessment. Okay, the best answer is letter A, differentiated assessment. This gives students multiple ways to demonstrate learning based on their strengths. Let's discuss the other incorrect choices. For letter B, traditional assessment use fixed formats like written exams. Letter C, standardized assessments are uniform for all students. Letter D, objective assessments have definite right and wrong answers, unlike open-ended projects or open-ended questions. Only letter A is the best answer. Number 10, a teacher uses an exit ticket at the end of a class, asking students to write one thing they learned about the causes of Philippine-American War. What is an example? This is an example of what type of assessment? Letter A, performance-based assessment. Letter B, summative assessment. Letter C, norm reference assessment. Or letter D, formative assessment. Okay, the best answer is letter D, formative assessment. Exit tickets provide quick feedback on what students understood during the lesson, a characteristic of formative assessment. Um, for letter A, performance-based assessments require complex tasks, not short responses. Letter B, summative assessment evaluate overall learning at the end of a unit. And letter C, non-reference assessments compare students' scores to others. So the best answer for this situation is letter D. Number 11. A social studies teacher gives students a project where they must create a mock election campaign for a historical leader. What is the primary purpose of this assessment? Letter A, to develop students' creativity and persuasion skills. Letter B, to test memorization of historical facts. Letter C, to compare students' abilities against a national standard. Or letter D, to make the class more entertaining. Okay, the best answer is letter A. This project develops creativity, critical thinking, and persuasive communication by requiring students to engage with historical figures. Okay. For letter B, memorization is not the primary goal of a mock election. For letter C, the activity is not norm reference. We are not comparing students here. And for letter D, while it is fun, it can make class more entertaining. Its goal is active learning, not just entertainment. So the best answer is letter A. Number 12. Which of the following best differentiates formative from summative assessment in social studies? Letter A. Formative assessments focus on grades, while summative assessments do not. Letter B. Summative assessments guide instruction, while formative assessments evaluate learning. Letter C. Formative assessments occur throughout the learning process, while summative assessments evaluate learning at the end of a unit. Letter D, summative assessments are informal, while formative assessments are highly structured. The correct answer is letter C, of course. Formative assessments monitor progress and guide instructions. Like, for example, the situation earlier, like giving exit tickets. While summative assessments evaluate overall learning, like for example, conducting final exams. So the best answer there is letter C. Okay, let's discuss the other choices. Why are they incorrect? For letter A, both formative and summative assessments can contribute to grades. Letter B, this one it is a formative assessment that guide instruction, not summative. For letter D, summative assessments are often more structured than formative ones. Number 13. Which of the following statements best describes a limitation of criterion reference assessment in social studies? Letter A, it does not provide comparison between students. Letter B, um, it only measures low-level thinking skills. Letter C, it is always more subjective than norm reference assessment. Or letter D, it cannot be used for grading purposes. Okay, the correct answer is letter A. Criterion reference assessments evaluate students against a fixed standard rather than comparing them to peers. So that describes the limitation of criterion reference because it does not provide comparison between students. Let's discuss the incorrect answers for letter B. It can assess both low and high order thinking skills. Letter C is incorrect because subjectivity depends on assessment format, not the method itself. And for letter D, criterion reference can be used for grading. So only letter A is the best answer. Number 14. What is a major challenge in using portfolios as an assessment tool in social studies? Letter A, they do not allow students to demonstrate critical thinking. Letter B, they do not provide a comprehensive view of student learning. Letter C, they require significant time for evaluation and feedback. Or letter D, they only assess factual knowledge. Okay, the best answer is letter C. Portfolios involve collecting and evaluating multiple student works over time, making grading time intensive. Again, the question here is what is the major challenge in using portfolios? So letter C is the best answer. For letters A and B, portfolios encourage critical thinking and provide a broad picture of learning. So letters A and B are not major challenges. Letter D, they assess various skills, not just factual recall. Okay, that's why letter C is the best answer. Number 15, which of the following best describes the epistemological challenge of assessing historical interpretations? Letter A, historical knowledge is fixed, making assessment criteria inconsistent. Letter B, the subjectivity of historical narratives complicates standard evaluation methods. Letter C, historical facts are universally agreed upon, limiting assessment options. Or letter D, standardized tests can effectively measure interpretive skills. Okay, the best answer is letter B. Again, we are asking about the what best describes the challenge of assessing historical interpretation. Historical interpretation is subjective as events are analyzed through different perspectives, making standardized evaluation difficult. So that's why it is the correct answer. Let's discuss the other choices, letters A, C, and D. For letter A, historical knowledge is not fixed, but it is evolving and it is dynamic. Letter C, many historical events are contested, not universally accepted. And for letter D, it's incorrect because standardized tests struggle to assess deep interpretive skills. Number 16. How does the concept of construct validity apply to assessment of civic engagement in social studies? Letter A, it ensures the test measures the theoretical aspects of civic participation accurately. Letter B, it determines whether the test has clear right or wrong answers. Letter C, it focuses on whether students memorize civic definitions correctly. Or letter D, it evaluates if test questions are easy for all students to understand. Okay, the best answer is letter A. Construct validity ensures the assessment truly measures civic engagement and not just knowledge about civic terms. So it ensures that the test measures the theoretical aspects of civic participation accurately. For incorrect choices for letter B, right or wrong answers relate to reliability, not construct validity. Letter C, memorization does not equate to real civic engagement. For letter D, accessibility is important but not related to construct validity. Only letter A is the correct answer. Number 17. Why is a purely positivist approach to social studies assessment problematic? Letter A, it ignores the role of factual knowledge in analysis. Letter B, it assumes all historical claims can be objectively measured. Letter C, it prevents the use of standardized assessment tools. Or letter D, it overemphasizes student perspective over historical accuracy. Okay, the best answer is letter B. Positivism assumes knowledge is absolute and measurable, which is problematic in interpretive fields like history and civics. For incorrect choices, letter A, factual knowledge is necessary but not sufficient for deep analysis. For letter C, standardized tools can be used in both positivist and interpretive approaches. Letter D, positivism actually minimizes student perspectives, not overemphasizes them. So only letter B is the best answer. Number 18. What is the main limitation of using item response theory or IRT in assessments? Letter A, it assumes that knowledge acquisition is linear and universal. Letter B, it does not allow differentiation between high and low performing students. Letter C, it cannot be applied to multiple choice questions. Or letter D, it requires excessive subjectivity in grading. Okay, the best answer is letter A. IRT assumes learning follows a predictable pattern, which does not account for contextual interpretive knowledge in social studies. Letter A is the best answer. It assumes that knowledge acquisition is linear and universal. Uh-huh. For letter B, IRT actually excels at differentiating student ability. Letter C, it is widely used in multiple choice assessments. Letter D is incorrect because IRT is mathematically driven, not subjectively, or it reduces subjectivity. Number 19. Why is inter-rated reliability particularly challenging in grading essays? Letter A. Different raters may apply criteria inconsistently due to subjective interpretation. Letter B. Essays always have a clear right and wrong answers. Letter C. Social studies essays primarily test factual knowledge. Or letter D. Rubrics eliminate all scoring inconsistencies. Okay, correct answer is letter A. It's too obvious. We all know that essays involve interpretation, leading to potential variation between graders. So different graders or raters may apply criteria inconsistently because we have our own judgment. So letter A is the best answer. For letter B, this is incorrect as essays focus on arguments, not just correct or incorrect answers. Letter C, essays test analysis and argumentation, not just factual recall. And for letter D, rubrics reduce but do not eliminate inconsistencies. Number 20, this is the last number. A teacher argues that norm reference assessments are inappropriate for measuring historical empathy. Why is this argument valid? Letter A. Historical empathy requires qualitative, not comparative assessment. Letter B. Norm reference tests are more accurate for content recall. Letter C. Historical empathy is best assessed through standardized tests. Or letter D. Norm reference assessments provide individualized feedback. Okay, the best answer is letter A. Historical empathy involves perspective taking and qualitative analysis, making norm reference, which is comparative, assessments unsuitable. So that's why this argument is valid. Historical empathy requires qualitative, not comparative assessment. For letters B and C, these are incorrect because standardized tests do not measure empathy effectively. For letter D, norm reference tests compare students rather than providing detailed feedback. So only letter A is the best answer. And that wraps our discussion on assessment and evaluation in social studies. What do you think the assessment strategy um or what kind of assessment strategy do you find most effective? Okay, please comment your scores below or leave any comments below. And if you find this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next review sessions. This is Teacher Art reminding you study hard because by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Okay, see you in our next videos. Future top notchers. Bye bye.